everybody. So today I'm gonna show you one of the builds for RuneKnight. It's the DragonBreath Ice Breath build. I decided to make these videos because I'll be transferring over to the Southeast Asian server, and so I'm gonna retire my character in the Chinese server. So I'm not gonna sell him. I'll just retire him, so I won't be using him. So also take note, I'm not on English patch. Since I'm quitting, I didn't feel like spending $2 to get the English patch. Don't worry, because I'll be explaining everything in detail, and all of those fields that are in Chinese, I'll be giving you what they actually mean in English. So then let's get started. So first off, DragonBreath is probably one of the best PvE builds. It's one of the best grinding builds for RuneKnight. It's probably the best farming build. Arguably a tie with Bash build. Before I quit, I was making roughly about 1 million Seni on a daily grind. Okay, so let's get started then. So first off, let's go with the stats for this build. So basically, the most important part is you need to have a total of 60 dexterity, or 60 dex. So that's already base plus bonus included. That's because DragonBreath or Ice Breath has a 2-second cast time. It's a variable cast time. So 60 dex should be able to negate it, even if you have 0% minus on variable cast time. Next off is you want to max out strength. DragonBreath and Ice Breath takes its damage from physical attack and magical attack. So it's physical attack plus magical attack multiplied by the skill level multiplier. So you do want to max out strength. And you may be asking why I have 0 end, and I'll get to that part later. For Vit, it's also important that you put the rest into Vitality. That's because DragonBreath uses Vit as a multiplier as well. It gives you 1% more in the final damage per 10 points of Vitality. Or it could also give you 0.10%, okay, or 1/10 of 1% for each point of Vitality. Okay, so again, it's strength, dex, and vitality. You may want to start off with having 60 dex, and then put everything into strength, and then put something into Vit. One thing to take note of, since this build is only available once you become RuneKnight, this is not a leveling build per se. This is not something you can start off from scratch. Like starting from level 1, you try to build up to this build. That's not possible. At best, I think what you could do is you could go Bash build all the way up to the point where you become RuneKnight. Do about job level 20 or job level 15, and then switch to Ice Breath. It's not advisable, DragonBreath. It's not advisable to go DragonBreath right away, because there is a prerequisite to the skill, which we will be moving on for in a bit. Now, why didn't I put any int into the build? That's because as a swordsman, you get very minimal magical attack per point of int. Also, the bonus int you get is also very minimal. And although Dragon Trainer's Spear will give you 420 magical attack, even if you max out int, it will never compare to when you max out strength and when you put the rest into it. In fact, even at 0 base int, it's possible to get about 2,000 points of magical attack. That's self buff and cooking foods plus priest buff included. So my conclusion really is it isn't so important, okay? But if you want to do an SP build, probably if you want to go with a lot of SP regen, and I don't know if only SP and DragonBreath is possible, but if you want to do that, then yes, you may want to put int. I have never considered an only SP build because one, there is a runestone, this one, I forgot what it's called, it's the blue one, but it gives you 100 SP per 5 seconds, and it's really easy to craft. This lasts for 8 minutes. If you have Rune Mastery at level 10, it will last for 16 minutes. And then you can just use it when you grind. Likewise, you can also just stuff yourself with cooking food. Let me just there. So all these food you've been cooking, they do have SP calories. So they just stack up, you just eat and eat and eat, and all of those SP calories just stack up, and then as you run out of SP, once it's 30% or lower, then it's just start using all those calories. Another option you could also use is Trick Dead, and I've been using Trick Dead ever since I started playing this game. Before, you would not be able to put it into auto slot, but now you can. So once you use it, it recovers 10% of your max HP and max SP every 5 seconds, all the way till it's full, and then you fall asleep. After the sleep debuff goes off, your character wakes up and it will resume. Now, all of these can lead to unlimited SP grind, although, this is the caveat, this will never compare to how faster you can grind Seni when you're an only SP build. Okay, if you're an only SP build, it just kills and kills and kills every damn second. No need to rest. But in contrast to it, or alongside with it, you'll also have to spend more getting those other gears. Okay, so done with stats. Now let's go to skills. Let me start off with the Knight skills. So as a whole, if you plan to use Dragon Breath or Ice Breath with Dragon Trainer, which I assume you will, the skills in the Swordsman tree doesn't really matter. Okay, I think the things that are important here is getting HP regen for survivability. May also want to get at least level 1 Magnum Break, just in case you want to use the 20% buff of physical attack. Level 10 Endure, because there's a skill which I will explain later on, which is Invest All, which converts your magical defense into magical attack. So using Endure will give you a boost in your damage. In the Knight skill tree build, you probably want to max Spear Mastery. So it gives about 280 physical attacks. Physical attack when you're using spears. You also want to get level 5 Peko riding and level 5 Cavalry Mastery. I explain later, but there's a rune that's in combo with this, and this is the key to getting the cheap version of 100% ignored defense. 100% ignored defense is very important when you're grinding. It could spell the difference between one hitting a mob and having to hit it twice. And when you're using a skill like Dragon Breath, it's important that you kill the mobs in one hit. And then you may want to max Aura Blade. Aura Blade in itself will not help you. You have to get the runes. So the runes, there's 6 runes all in all. What will happen is it will give you 30 physical attack bonus per level of sword aura. So that's about 600 physical attack, just by getting all of those runes and maxing sword aura. Next off, on the RuneKnight skill, things that are important is Lord's Aura, and please don't mind I put something into what's his skill called again? Joint Beat, yeah. So I put something in Joint Beat because I just had excess skill points. So put 10 into Lord's Aura, level 5 in Concentration. So Sword's Aura will give you 30% physical attack bonus. So that's a multiplier to your final damage. So as you cast this, you won't see any change in your physical attack stats, but you will see a big difference in your damage output. Level 5 Concentration to give you 20% more physical attack. So this, you'd see a difference. You'd see a 20% increase in your physical attack. In return, it will, decrease your gear defense by 40% unless you take the runes. And it will also give you about 50 bonus hit. And it also, if I'm not mistaken, it also gives the whole party the Endure buff. And then you may want to get Burn Life, just get enough to get Berserk. And I just get Berserk just in case I want to use this build to kill some MVPs in Tower, but otherwise it's not necessary. And then later on, get Justice. So this is, I don't know on the translation how it will appear in the Seiya version, but this can either be called Justice or Righteous Education. I forgot what the exact term was. But essentially, this gives you 5 physical attack points per 5 points of Vit. And if you get the rune, it will give you 0.8 magical attack points per 5 points of Vit. So this, all in all, this boosts your physical attack and magical attack damage. This is also one of the reasons why you have to put in a lot of Vit. And then moving on to the RuneKnight build, and please take note, if you're a beginner, you will not be able to put any skill into the next. So say for example you're swordsman, then you became knight, and then you did the skill reset. You'll not be able to put any skills into the knight tree unless you have spent at least 40 points in the swordsman tree. Okay, so the same thing goes for the Lord Knight tree. You'd have to spend 40 points in the Knight tree first before you move on to the Lord Knight tree. And then before you get to the Rune Knight tree, you would have to spend 40 points in the Lord Knight tree, plus the 30 points. Okay, the 30 points from the job expansion, before you can put something in the Rune Knight tree. Okay. So next off with Rune Knights, and let me explain the skills that are necessary. So first off is dragon riding. So you need dragon riding for several reasons. One is because, first and foremost reasons, because dragons look so cool. Okay. Second one is when you're riding a dragon, you get 25% more damage for Dragon Breath. At level 5, it also gives you 100% damage to all size. Okay, so Spear, if I'm not mistaken, does 100% damage to large, 75% to medium, 50% to small. When you're on Dragon, you have a level 5 Dragon riding and you're wearing a Spear, you do 100% on all sizes. Next off, and this depends on whether you want to get Dragon Breath or Ice Breath. Okay, so what I do is, since I'm mostly farming in Juno, in Geographer, Martin, and Harpy, I get Dragon Breath. Okay, and also because Dragon Breath is really, does really more damage compared to Ice Breath. But if you're grinding in Magma Dungeon, then I'd suggest you go to Ice Breath. Okay, and we can do an Ice Breath tutorial later. It's just that it's pretty much the same. Every stat, every gear you'd probably be using would almost be the same. So you would need to get Dragon Roar. So the prerequisite for Dragon Breath is at least level 3 Dragon Roar. So let's put something in there. And then you get Dragon Breath. Some people just take level 1 or level 3. If you're just grinding, if you want to conserve SP, my recommendation is to 1 level. Test it out on the mobs to see how much damage you do, and then at 1 level, and so on and so forth. For the purpose of this video, let's just put in one level, but let's take a look at how it is at level 10. At level 10, Dragon Breath does this amount of damage. So it's your physical attack plus magical attack multiplied by 1160. Okay, so that's a base attack with 100% chance to burn the enemy. Okay, and then you do 20% more Dragon Breath damage if you're in burn life status. Okay, and you also get 1% more damage per 10 points of Vit, or 0.1% per 1 point of Vit. The range is about 6 meters, 6 units away from your character. Variable cast time is about 2 seconds, which is negated by the 60 Vit that I have. Skill cooldown and after cast delay is 2 seconds, and the SP cost is 42. The thing you're seeing here, the plus 48% here, this is the Dragon Breath runes. So if you get all of those runes, you get about plus 48% damage to Dragon Breath. Okay, so let's just remove all that. Yes, I forgot to explain earlier. There's another skill called Dragon Asylum. So it gives you less damage from fire and ice or water damage, and it gives you about 5% more fire and water damage. It's one of those skills you may want to get once you are set with your core skills. There's also another skill which is called Invest All, which essentially takes all of your MDef and puts it into magical attack. You can use this for grinding as well. It's just it takes up too much SP, and your character will end up always being on play dead, or always running out of SP. Now let's go to gears.